So last day we just started off. We had the introduction. Then we started the story. We have done first one, two, three, four, fifth paragraph. We were at fifth paragraph. We have seen how the little match girl, she was out in the evening. We have seen the setting in the first paragraph. Then we saw that how poor she is because she did not have shoe on. But she did have slippers, but they belonged to her mother's. As a result, it was very loose, did not fit on her feet. And the third paragraph, we saw how she was not able to sell any matches and could not earn even a pie. Then the fourth paragraph, we saw how she was out in the cold and the snowflakes were falling on her golden hair, but she was not worried about the physical appearance because she was hungry and worried. And in the fifth paragraph, we have seen how she was able to sit, huddle herself, heap herself, just fall somewhere where there are two houses are joined, and she was sitting there. And she was very, very cold, and she did not dare to go home. They are given two reasons. You remember the reasons? Two reasons for not going home. One thing was she hadn't sold any matches and did not earn even a penny. That's the first reason. Second reason, by going home, it was no better. It was no better because her home was equally bad. Just like the situation outside, her home also was going to be really bad. That's where we stopped. We'll just do the fifth paragraph once again. She huddled down in a heap in a corner formed by two houses, one of which projected further out into the street than the other. But though she tucked her little legs up under her, she felt colder and colder. She did not dare to go home, for she had sold no matches and earned not a single penny. Her father would be sure to beat her. And besides, it was so cold at home, for they had nothing but the roof above them, and the wind whistled through that, even though the largest cracks were stuffed with straw and rags. Her thin hands were almost numb with cold. If only she dared pull just one small match from the packet, strike it on the wall, and warm her fingers. So she did not dare to go home, as we have seen for two reasons. That's what we have seen in the beginning of that paragraph. Then what is the condition of her home? If she goes home, her father will beat her because she earned nothing. But they had nothing but the roof above them, and the wind whistled through that, even though the largest cracks were stuffed with straw and rags. Her house was in such a poor condition, such a poor condition. And she did not know how to adjust. The roof above them and the wind whistled through that. So there were holes on the roof. Must be a thatched house, a house which is thatched, not concrete house. So there were holes on the roof from which water would fall when it rains, and the snow also will fall in the winter. Her thin hands were almost numb with cold. the condition of her house reminds us of another story which you studied in ninth class. Anybody remembers the story? A little girl lived in a house. The house was very poor, old, tumbled house. Yes? Yes, Maggie. Maggie. Yes. Maggie's house was one such. So that was last story you did, I think, before coming over here. Yes. An angel in disguise. Okay. So now what happens? She doesn't want to get back home. So she just sits there. Her thin hands were almost numb with cold. If only she dared pull just one small match from the packet, strike it on the wall, and warm her fingers. That's the wish of the author. If only she could pull just one match from it and just strike it and produce little fire, that would warm her up. We'll go to next paragraph. She pulled one out, scratch, scratch. This is a sound of the action is explained through the word. The word sounds just like the match striking. When you take a matchstick and strike it on the match, so that is the sound. She pulled one out, scratch. How it spluttered and burned. It had a warm, bright flame like a tiny candle when she held her hand over it. But what a strange light. So she took one match and struck it. How it spluttered and burned. What is the meaning of splutter? Means to make a series of short explosive sound. Splutter. So what is splutter? To make a series of short explosive sound. A series of short explosive sound. When you say explosion, don't think of a bomb blast. When you strike a match, what happens? There will be a series, means continuous spluttering, shining of explosive. There will be little bit of sound and there will be little sparks. Those of you are used to striking a match, or if you do not know about matchbox striking, you know how to lit a gas stove. You take the lighter and just you light the stove. What happens? Suddenly there will be little spluttering, a series of small sound and fire. That's a sparkling made. That is called sputter. So she pulled one out. How it spluttered and burned. It had a warm, bright flame like a tiny candle when she held her hand over it. But what a strange light. So naturally she must have been in darkness because it's already the evening has set. There is light on every window, but where she is sitting is a dark corner. So she lights a match, and when there is a wind, what do? How do you protect the light? Just hold the hand. You have the candle and you just hold your hand and try to protect it. So when she was keeping the hand and making the little matchstick to burn, it gave out such a bright light. So now you must pay attention to it. Every matchstick she strikes or she burns. Let's put it burn, it will be easy for you. So for every matchstick that burns, has a vision. So every matchstick she burns has a vision. So every matchstick she burns, every matchstick that the little girl burns has a vision. 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 What is the vision? What is the vision? Vision. Vision is a, you can say, sight. 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 Or you can say a scene. A scene. He had a vision last night. That means he saw something. He saw something. So it's a kind of, here the vision is not a real thing, it's a hallucination. Hallucination. What is hallucination? Hallucination. 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 Hallucination is something imaginative. The girl imagines that something is happening. Hallucination. So actually it does not take place, but she is able to imagine. Something like a dream. Something like a dream. It just comes and passes away. I think all of you have seen dreams. Is there anybody who does not dream? Yes, everybody dreams. Every night, practically every night when you sleep, you have dreams. Dreams are there always. Sometimes you are not disturbed. You are not aware of it. Sometimes you get disturbed and you get up. Some people remember their dreams, some people forget. Some people remember it for a day or for some time. Some people never forget their dreams. So, when you dream, what do you dream? Normally, what do you dream? Whatever normally we are dealing with, what we have been thinking for the whole day, what we were talking to somebody, or what are our worries, or what are the things that keep disturbing us, what is the thing that gives us joy. These things will come into our dreams. So little girl, whatever she lacked in life, whatever she wished to have and she did not have, those things will be coming to her dreams. So whenever she strikes or burns a matchstick, she has a vision. So in this story altogether, she strikes 4 matchsticks one by one. 4 matchsticks. 6. 4 sticks. So 4 sticks she strikes. First stick, second stick, third stick, fourth stick. Whenever she strikes a stick, she has a vision. How many visions did she have so far? If she has one vision for every matchstick that is burnt, and she has burned 4 visions, 4 matchsticks, how many visions should she have? 4. 4 visions. First matchstick, 1 vision. Second, another. Like that, 4 times if she strikes, there will be 4 visions. That is important. That will be part of the question answers. Also, we should know what she actually desires. we'll come to know through the vision. Now she's striking the first matchstick and she's trying to hold it without being gone off, and it's very bright. Now she'll have the first vision. It seemed to the little girl as if she were sitting in front of a great iron stove with polished brass knobs and brass ornaments. The fire burnt so beautifully and gave out such a lovely warmth. Oh, how wonderful that was! The child had already stretched her feet to warm them too, when out went the flame. The stove vanished, and there she sat with the burnt match in her hand. So let's have a look. So now she has burned the first matchstick. We'll put it here, matchstick. First, this is first one. What is the vision? Vision is that of a stove. A burning stove. A burning stove. So that is the first vision. So she struck the first matchstick and she had the vision of a burning stove. Don't forget this one. This will be asked in the question answers. Contest questions. You'll have to answer this. It seemed to the little girl as if she were sitting in front of a great iron stove with polished brass knobs and brass ornament. So, brass knobs. What is knob? You know, stove has got a knob where you can hold. The door has a knob. You want to open the door, you hold the knob and pull the door and open. That's the meaning of knob. So you have a something like where you can put the hand and pull it. So that is a knob. The stove has also two knobs, both sides. So the knobs were made of what? Polished brass. Brass which is polished. She was able to see everything very clearly. And it had brass ornaments. Brass ornaments made of brass were decorated on the stove. The fire burned so beautifully and gave out such a lovely warmth. So beautifully burning, very elegant, and was giving out warmth. Warmth means heat. You know the climate outside is very cold. It was a New Year's Eve. She was shivering. What she wanted at that moment, what she needed most was two things. One is light, another thing is warmth. So I told you, every vision of hers will be based on her needs or her desires. At that moment, what she needed most were light and warmth. We call it warmth, W-A-R-M, warm. Warm climate means hot, warm, H-O-T, hot. Warmth means the state of being warm. The state of being warm. So you are in the cold season and you put on a nice jacket, so you can feel the warmth of it. Just shivering till now, so you can feel the warmth of it. It makes your body heated. Warmth. So that is a warmth. So the fire burned so beautifully and gave out such a lovely warmth. Oh, how wonderful that was. So she's saying, oh, how wonderful that was. That is the warmth she got, the light, the way it was burning bright. What a wonderful thing it was. The child had already stretched her feet to warm them. See, it is the story is not explained in the first person. There are certain stories explained in the first person, and most of the stories are explained in the second person. Last time you learned the characteristic of a story. Story can be said from the first person's point of view or from the second person's point of view. When it's first person's point of view, it will start with I. Then you'll say, I felt the warmth. I see, I saw. That is first person. This is in the second person. Somebody is explaining or somebody is describing or narrating. Here the author is narrating. So the author says, what a wonderful vision it was. The child had already stretched her feet to warm them. To when out went the flame. See the reality of it. It's only a vision, but the author has made it so lively, so real. So she has already warmed, her hands are already warmed. She's feeling comfortable at the warmth. She was about to take her feet out and stretch it towards the stove and warm her feet also. That time the fire went off. What a pity. So she had already warmed herself. Maybe her hands are already warmed up. Her face is warmed up. Now her feet is very cold. So she wanted to raise her feet and put it towards the fire and warm it up. That time the fire went off. The stove went off. How wonderful that was. The child had already stretched her feet to warm them too. When out went the flame. Out went the flame means the flame went out, extinguished. The stove vanished, and there she sat with a burnt match in her hand. The stove vanished. Vanished means disappear. To vanish means to disappear, to go off. So the stove vanished. The first vision is out. And you are sitting there with her matchstick in her hand, the burnt matchstick. So this was the first vision. I think it's clear. So you should remember each vision. In the oral exam also, you'll be asked questions like this. How many visions does she have? And you should answer how many visions she had. Then you'll be asked what all things were in the vision. Then you should explain. Okay. We'll go to next paragraph. She struck another. It burned clearly, and where the light fell upon the wall, the bricks became transparent like gauze. She could see right into the room where a shining white cloth was spread on the table. It was covered with beautiful china, and in the center of it stood a roast goose stuffed with prunes and apples steaming deliciously. And what was even more wonderful was that the goose hopped down from the dish, waddled across the floor with carving knife and fork in its back, waddled straight up to the poor child. Then out went the match, and nothing could be seen but the thick, cold wall. So this is the second vision. As I told you, every time she strikes a matchstick or burns a matchstick, she has a vision. First one, she had the vision of a burning stove. Second match, what did she have? A dining table. A dining table with roasted goose. So this was her second vision. Second vision, what did she have? Roasted goose. ROASTED. Roasted GOOSE. Goose. So I told you her visions are based on her needs and desires. Just like our dreams based on our needs, our wishes, or the things with what we are talking about or thinking about. So her first and foremost need was light and warmth. That she already got it. Now she goes for the second vision. Naturally, once you are comfortable, you are feeling comfortable, you are warm, and there is sufficient light, your next need will be something to eat. And you remember in paragraph number 4, lights were shining in every window, and there was a glorious smell of roast goose in the street, for this was New Year. So on New Year's Eve, it is customary in most of the European countries and many other countries to celebrate it in a grand manner. And one of the items they should have is roasted goose. And she was getting the smell in the street and she wished to have it. And now she has a vision. She strikes the second match and she gets the vision of that. She struck another. That is the second one. It burned clearly, and where the light fell upon the wall, the bricks became transparent like gauze. She could. So, what is the meaning of transparent? Transparent means, in physics, you have studied in transparent. Transparency is allowing the light to pass through. For example, glass is transparent. The glass when the light passes through, light will pass through the glass. You're able to see what is on the other side. So that is transparent. Like a gauze, G-A-U-Z-E. G-O-G-A-U-Z-E. Pronounced as gauze. What is gauze? Gauze is a thin layer of cloth. A thin layer of cloth. You have gauze bandage. Suppose you have a wound on your body, then you use a gauze bandage, very light material. So when she struck the second match, what happened? When the light fell upon the wall, the bricks became transparent. The light fell on the wall, the bricks were transparent. Bricks were able to emit the light, allow the light to go through. Suppose there is a wall and the other side this light, you cannot see because the bricks are not transparent. Here it was transparent. As a result, she was able to see what was inside. What was there? She could see right into the room where a shining white cloth was spread on the table. In the foreign countries, or if you go to a hotel, some standard hotels, some very good hotels, even here in Padrona, you may have one or two. You may have very few. If you go to Gorakhpur, you'll find plenty. Delhi, Bombay, Hyderabad, you have excellent hotels. They will spread a white cloth on the table. It's a part of the way they receive you. There should be a white cloth, plates should be laid, and there will be a spoon and fork for your use, and there will be a napkin kept for wiping your hand or mouth. These are all compulsory. So she saw a table which is laid, a laid table. You already remember the Merchant of Venice? Have you done that one? Or I think you're ready to do, or you have already done? Already done, no? That yes. laying of the table, or maybe it's coming. Doesn't matter. So to lay table means to arrange all these things. Arrange plates, spoon, fork, knife, all those things. Keeping ready is called laying the table. Lay, lay the table. So she saw a laid table covered with beautiful china. Beautiful china is that's a clay, china clay, made plates made of china clay. And in the center of it stood a roast goose. The center of the dining table, the roasted goose was there, the special item which she always wanted to have. It was at the center of it. And in the center of it stood a roast goose stuffed with prunes and apples, steaming deliciously. You know, it is roasted, it is steamed. Just steam is just coming out of it. Nicely burnt, nicely roasted. Steam is coming out of it. So it was stuffed with the prunes. What is the meaning of stuff? Stuff means to insert, insert. So when they roast the goose, they insert certain things. You know that some masala is added. You cut the meat, chicken or whatever maybe. You make straight slashes and you put masala in that. Some people can put things also, other things also in that and make nice. So here some things were stuffed, some things were kept inside. What were they? Stuffed with prunes. Prunes are dried fruits. Dried fruits. Like if you go to a shop, good shop, you'll get a dried fruits, starting with kismis, the dried grapes. You have so many walnuts, that one, this one, so many dried fruits are there. So some dried fruits were stuffed inside, and apples steaming deliciously. They were all steaming, burning deliciously because just it is just roasted and taken out. And some tables in the cold season in abroad, you have a system where you have stoves. You go for some dinners, some good dinners, some marriage dinners, and you find just before the dinner starts, they'll put out the stove. They'll burn the stove, and the items are just kept on it. So it will be kept warm. You can just go and serve yourself. So like that, this also the roasted goose is kept on the oven. It's being burned and steaming. Steaming deliciously. Delicious means very good smell. It's giving out an attractive or attractive smell and taste. Actually, the smell makes you to taste. It's the smell of the masala that makes your mouth to water. Automatically, you'll have a nice taste. So the palpitation, the taste buds are activated through the smell that is in the air which comes through the nose. And what was even more wonderful was that the goose hopped down from the dish, waddled across the floor with carving knife and fork in his back, waddled straight up to the poor child. Wonderful, wonderful vision. What happened? You know, spoon and fork. Here we don't use. In great, good big hotels they use. And foreign countries, all the foreign countries except India, European countries, and all this must. You should use spoon and fork. You cannot eat with hand. You have to use spoon and fork. You use a fork to hold it and cut with a knife. Hold with a fork and cut with a knife. And you have to use the spoon and fork to eat. With a spoon you eat. With the help of a fork you or collect it and eat only with the spoon. So cut with a knife. So the knife, fork, spoon. This is part of that dining table setup. So not only the goose was there, the goose even walked. The goose had all these things, whatever they needed to cut itself, it was at the back of it. Knife and fork and all those things. With that, the goose came out of the table and walked towards the child. What a wonderful vision. And what was even more wonderful was that the goose hopped down. You know what is the meaning of hop? Hop is jumping, move by jumping. You have the grasshopper, that whitish, the green thing which sits on the grass is called grasshopper. Why? Because it jumps from grass to grass. Grasshopper jumps. So the goose hopped down from the dish. It was in the dish, staying inside the dish. It jumps out of the dish and walks towards the child. Waddled across the floor for a carving knife. Carving knife is a special knife used to cut the goose. What is waddled? W-A-D-D-L-E-D. Waddle means to walk with a kind of clumsy steps. Clumsy steps. You know what's meaning of clumsy means? Ugly step. Not a very good way of walking. So it jumped from there and was walking and coming towards the child. With a knife and fork in its back, waddled straight up to the poor. Then out went. So the goose was ready, and the child got the nice, delicious smell of it. And the goose walked down with a knife and fork. Wonderful vision. Unfortunately, the matchstick went off. So that is a second vision. Then out went the match, and nothing could be seen but the thick, cold wall. So now only the wall remained. Just paragraph. She struck another match, and suddenly she was sitting under the most beautiful Christmas tree. It was much larger and much lovelier than the one she had seen last year through the glass doors of the rich merchant's house. 1,000 candles lit up the green branches, and gaily colored balls like those in the shop windows looked down upon her. The little girl reached forward and with both hands, then out went the match. The many candles on the Christmas tree rose higher and higher through the air, that they had now turned into bright stars. One of them fell, streaking the sky with light. So what is the third matchstick? The third one. What was a vision? That of Christmas tree. With candles. So the third vision, when she struck the third matchstick, she saw the Christmas tree and there were burning candles. You know, Christians, they like to celebrate Christmas. This is one of the things always celebrate, Easter and Christmas. Christmas is the birth of Christ, and the Christmas crib, part of it. During the Christmas, you come to new campus and the old campus to see the Christmas tree, to see the crib, 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 crib. So Christmas tree is part of the crib. So the Christmas tree will be there and the crib will be there and Jesus will be born in that crib. So this, what happens? The third vision is that of a Christmas tree. How did that one come? She being, she did not have the chance of having at the celebration of Christmas. But he had seen a Christmas tree previously through the glass of a shop which being kept for selling. Christmas trees are sold. Some of them are very good, excellent, elegant ones, but very costly, costing thousands. So she had only seen and she wished to have, but she could not have because she was very poor. She struck another match and suddenly she was sitting under the most beautiful Christmas tree.